given that we're agreed that the purpose of this first meeting is to discover, to really work out what's going on in this business, it kind of makes sense to have a strategy around questions. It's funny, we see some common behaviors at the mid-end of the sales environment in terms of the questions people ask and their propensity to bridge very quickly into positioning solutions. Methodology I like to use for questioning is called SPIN. Most of you have heard it. And SPIN is a methodology that's been around for years and years and years, and it's owned by an organization called the Huthwaite Organization. And we'll add some information to the resource kit for this particular episode that really links to the organization themselves and gives you some information on SPIN. But briefly put, it's a mode of questioning that's extremely effective when you're trying to diagnose issues and challenges at a very explicit level, at executive level too, with the organizations you're dealing with. It's an acronym, as is everything in sales, and it stands for situation, problem, implication, and need payoff. It's pretty simple to get your head around. If you think about the sales interactions you have, for the most part, and this is the evidence we see, they'll follow a simple format. What's going on in your business? What kind of issues and challenges and problems do you have? You'll hear one that resonates and links to your solution. You'll jump up and down, get excited, shout the word great, and start telling them about how you can solve the problem. That's the need payoff. And that's why so many sales conversations fall flat, frankly. Because in a world where all you understand is the generic situation, some of the key problems the business has, and where you bridge immediately to a resolution to the problem, it means you've missed a vital point. You've missed the opportunity to understand the effect that that problem is having on the business you're engaging with. And people are motivated in business by effect, by impact. It's fine for a client to tell you that, they have some issues in their customer service function and they really need a solution to be able to better manage customer service. And if you're a salesperson who sells products in the customer service space, you're jumping up and down, you're excited, you want to tell them all about your customer service solutions. But unless you understand specifically what effect on the business that customer service issue is having, how do you know you've built big enough solution? How do you know you've uncovered the whole problem? More importantly, how do you know you have got the client motivated to really fix the problem relative to other issues in the business? This is tough to do man to camera. We're going to do some role plays later that will really illustrate how this mode of questioning can work. But what I'm going to encourage you to think through is the issue of effects, impacts, outcomes of the things that are happening in a business on the real imperatives of that organization. I'm going to give you a really simple example. And I do this often. Clients will often tell me that they're interested in reducing costs. And I would define that as at the problem level of questioning. And it makes sense, right? Customers want to reduce costs. I always ask them why. I always ask them why that might be important. And I deliberately put a confused look on my face when I ask them. I want them to think it's a dumb question because I want them to drop their guard. It's not a dumb question. Reducing cost in a business is a weighty and meaningful goal in itself, but there's always some other reason why they're doing it, something else more important they want to invest in, a significant profitability risk that's impacting shareholder visions of the company, their ability to acquire another organization, their ability to maintain their sales force at its current levels. There's always a reason. There have been a lot of announcements in the press over the last few days about some swathing job cuts at Ford as they try and counterbalance some of the rising costs of fuel, the fact that their main business is in the truck market. They're really having some problems. Sales guys who've been selling into any parts of Ford, who've heard them saying they'd want to reduce costs, have probably still been having a lot of problems making anything happen because the reason for saving costs in Ford goes much, much deeper. And the executives of Ford are motivated to actually spend money on doing many things. But you have to understand the effects and the impacts of that cost reduction and the challenges in Ford to get there. So, from a business questioning perspective in that first meeting, you've got to think effects and impacts and value and outcomes of the problems they're seeing. And force yourself to hold. Don't pitch yet. Think about how you diagnose more fully through that meeting so that you can get a really thorough positioning of the issues and challenges that that business has with motivation to solve, address, and buy solutions to address those business challenges. We're going to show this through role play far more effectively than I can to camera, as I've said before. But if I can just ask you one thing, it's to focus on that effects, and it'll really start to drive the effectiveness of the conversations you have at the level of first meeting.